This is a steel knife that cuts through iron like mud. Zapan also wanted to show it off to win the heart of the girl in front of him. However, for someone like Zapan, who is all show and no substance, the girl was not interested, being publicly rejected by her made Zapan very upset. He wanted to teach the girl a lesson by force, but he didn't realize she knew kung fu. The girl's impressive skills stunned everyone, yet just days ago, she was nothing more than discarded scrap. This is the premise of the sci-fi movie Alita, Battle Angel, which cost $170 million to produce. In the 26th century, human technology has advanced rapidly. Missing limbs are not a problem. As long as one is still breathing, the body can be modified with machinery. These modified beings are known as cyborgs. Dr. Dyson Ito is a cyborg doctor. Known for his kindness, he often treats patients who can't afford to pay, which means he himself struggles to buy parts and has to scavenge in the junkyard. One day, while searching through a pile of garbage, he accidentally discovers a torso. Upon activating his life detector, he finds that she is still alive. Without a second thought, Dr. Dyson Ito takes her back to his clinic. He then finds a mechanical body and, using his superb modification skills, gives this broken body a new life. As the sun rises the next day, the girl awakens from her sleep. Astonished as she looks at her hands, she stands in front of a mirror, hardly believing it's real. After confirming that this is not a dream, she puts on some clothes and tiptoes downstairs. Dr. Dyson Ito is delighted to see the girl awake. Although the girl is a cyborg and has senses of pain and taste, everything seems normal on the surface, but she can't remember anything, since she doesn't know who she is. Dr. Dyson Ito names her Alita. Alita steps outside and is shocked by her surroundings. The floating city above is called the Sky City, where only the privileged live, while ordinary people reside in Iron City below. As Dr. Dyson Ito starts to explain the environment, Alita is distracted by images on a large screen. Dr. Dyson Ito doesn't want to talk too much about Motorball, partly to protect Alita, and she doesn't ask much about it. While she is enjoying her food alone, a dog comes up to her. Alita, seeing that it might be hungry, generously offers it her food, earning her first friendship. However, just then, a massive robot passes by, and sensing danger, Alita instinctively assumes a combat stance. Just as she is about to engage in battle, Hugo, who happens to be passing by, scoops her up. Meanwhile, the dog is in danger. In a moment of urgency, she saves the dog, inadvertently showing off her agile posture. This surprises Hugo, and just like that, Hugo becomes her first friend. After a brief conversation, Alita leaves with Dr. Dyson Ito. However, as night falls, not far from Alita, a woman is about to head home. Just as she turns around, a crisis strikes her, and her scream alerts Alita. Alita quietly observes and notices Dr. Dyson Ito carrying a box into the house, his hands covered in fresh blood. Alita does not question him directly. The next day, a patient arrives at the clinic, his mechanical limbs stolen the night before.
Why would anyone want to take your arms and legs?
Torque coupling. Those jackets want your parts for the black market to supply the Motorball games.
You were lucky. Another girl was murdered last night, right near there.
Yeah. I heard that guy carves girls up and sells their body parts.
This deepens Alita's suspicions. From then on, Alita secretly watches Dr. Dyson Ito to see what he is up to at night. The following night, as Dr. Dyson Ito heads out again, Alita stealthily follows him. Dr. Dyson Ito focuses on a woman in red. He opens the box he is carrying, revealing it to be filled with assemblable weapons. After quickly putting the weapon together, Dr. Dyson Ito hides around a corner, ready to strike. However, just as the woman approaches, Alita jumps out.
Don't stop! Alita! Don't do it!
Oh no. It's a trap.
Looking for me, Doctor? Or should I say, Hunter Warrior?
It is only then that Alita realizes that these people are wanted criminals. The woman in red had intentionally exposed herself to eliminate bounty hunters. With the situation now clear, Dr. Dyson Ito swings his hammer decisively, severing one of the criminal's arms. Despite his efforts, as a human, Dr. Dyson Ito is no match for a cyborg. After being knocked down, the woman in red appears in front of him, ready to kill. In a desperate moment, Alita displays her extraordinary agility once more. However, the man's death angers his two companions, making Alita their target. Nishiana, a modified wanted criminal with scythe-like blades for hands, swings at Alita, forcing her to dodge continuously. Just when Nishiana thinks she has the upper hand, Alita dives and executes a move called Twin Dragons from the Sea, repelling Nishiana, who angrily kicks out in frustration. forcing Alita to roll and dodge continuously. As the enemy gathers strength for another attack, Alita stands and kicks out her legs, creating distance between her and Nishiana. Nishiana doesn't back down and lunges forward at the right moment, only to be met by an aggressive sidekick from Alita, sending Nishiana flying. Alita then follows up with a powerful kick. This spells the end for Nishiana, but it's not over yet. Grishka, another accomplice, seeing Alita's capabilities, wants to test her himself. However, Alita does not shy away from the fight. Despite her small size, she possesses incredible strength. Grishka, now armless, experiences Alita's ferocity and quickly retreats in defeat. Alita decides not to pursue further. She and Dr. Dyson Ito head to the Hunter factory. By placing the criminal's head in front of the machine, it recognizes and exchanges it for the appropriate reward. After the battle, Alita is eager to know who she really is and why her body possesses such energy. Seeing her curiosity, Dr. Dyson Ito answers her questions truthfully. In the scrapyard of Iron City, heaps of trash are discarded from the Sky City every day. Alita's body was found among these scraps. Initially, she only had her upper body. To give her a complete form, Dr. Dyson Ito used a body prepared for his daughter, thus creating Alita as she is now. Speaking of the body, Dr. Dyson Ito is somewhat sorrowful. Originally living in Sky City, his family was exiled to Iron City because of his daughter's illness. The body was intended for his daughter. One day, a patient came to the clinic, crazily grabbing medicine while also killing Dr. Dyson Ito's daughter, which led his wife to divorce him. Yet he continues to persevere, helping more people in need. As for why he named her Alita, it was because his deceased daughter was also named Alita. Dr. Dyson Ito's selfless acts are his way of treating the Alita before him as his daughter. He became a bounty hunter specifically to find the murderer who killed his daughter and to seek vengeance, hoping it would bring him inner peace. Instrument tests revealed that Alita's heart is incredibly powerful. It's a miniature reactor capable of powering Iron City for many years. This technology was lost 300 years ago, which indicates that Alita is at least 300 years old. Upon hearing this, Alita became even more determined to discover her origins. She decided to become a bounty hunter herself, using combat as a means to search for her lost memories. However, Dr. Dyson Ito didn't want Alita to stain her hands with blood and refused her request. Feeling helpless, Alita then met with her only friend, Hugo. After learning about Alita's situation, Hugo took her outside the city to a derelict alien spaceship. It turns out that 300 years ago, a scientific alliance from Mars waged a war against Earth, which the Martian forces eventually lost. One of their ships crashed to the ground and, despite centuries passing, it had been mostly stripped of parts. But Alita might find some remnants of her memories there, as the core of her being was derived from Martian technology that had been lost 300 years ago. This meant that Alita was essentially an alien. She entered the ship's interior, a large space with parts not submerged in water. In the decrepit cabin, Alita first looked around and then approached a door. She couldn't help but turn the rotary switch, and a strange scene appeared before her. As she approached the glowing object, a control panel rose to her right. Without thinking, Alita instinctively entered a password, and the glowing ring before her eyes suddenly dissipated, revealing a beautifully constructed body. Upon closer inspection, the beautiful body moved involuntarily, as if it had a close connection to Alita. At that moment, she made a new decision. She took the body from the ship and sought Dr. Dyson Ito's help to transfer into it, but he outright refused. The body was a humanoid weapon system developed by the Martian forces, used by their berserkers. Dr. Dyson Ito did not want her to continue fighting and hoped she would live a peaceful life instead. Frustrated by her thwarted plans, Alita was upset. Although she understood Dr. Dyson Ito's good intentions, she wanted to change to prepare for future crises. She went to the Hunter factory alone and registered as a bounty hunter without hesitation. Then, she and Hugo went to the Hunter factory, aiming to unite the bounty hunters there to confront the now missing Grishka. However, Alita had no influence, and no hunter responded to her call, forcing her to demonstrate her own strength. In a noisy brawl, Dr. Dyson Ito arrived with his hammer, initially intending to stop the fight, but realizing it was futile, he threatened to stop offering free repairs if they didn't cease. Just as things quieted down, the door was violently smashed open by the now returning Grishka. He appeared then because he had upgraded his body. With a mere flick of his hand, he killed a hunter. Seeing this, the other hunters either left or stood by watching. Only the dog Alita had once fed stepped forward. When the beloved dog was killed, Alita was completely enraged. She smeared her hands with the dog's blood and subconsciously drew the Berserker's totem. Grishka then broke the floor, wanting to change the location for a decisive battle. Alita, however, chose to confront him decisively, but the area was familiar to Grishka, and his upgraded body resisted the same heavy blows that had worked before. With Grishka preparing his strongest attack, seeing an opportunity, he launched another attack. Still, Alita chose to attack first. Using her jumping ability, she leaped forward. Just as she was about to land a heavy punch, she was severed by a rotating chain, trapping her in a dire situation. However, despite this, she never gave up the fight. How would she strike back,
Pleading for mercy!
once she had broken free from her constraints? Although she was left with only half her body, she never gave up in the face of a life and death situation. She bent her arm and lowered her body as the enemy approached from behind, and delivered a stubborn blow.
Fuck your mercy.
Even though this attack cost her the only palm she had, she still struggled to crawl. However, as the saying goes, every cloud has a silver lining. Dr. Dyson Ito, worried about Alita, arrived with help, forcing the already injured Grishka to leave the area. Alita was taken back to the clinic by Dr. Dyson Ito, where she finally received the Berserker body she desired. This body was not for just anyone. It required Alita's unique heart to operate the body capable of reshaping itself. Once the surgery was completed, Alita showcased her perfect body, effortlessly balancing on a single finger. But that wasn't all. This body could also absorb air to generate an arc of plasma flame, enhancing Alita's agility. Thus, the last Berserker was born. Meanwhile, the injured Grishka was waiting for treatment at a base somewhere, and the man pulling the strings was none other than Vector. He learned that Alita's heart was incredibly powerful and coveted it for himself. He then approached Alita's friend Hugo to learn more about her. However, at that time, Hugo was unaware of Vector's true nature. Although Vector appeared to be the head of the Hunter's factory, he was also being manipulated by a mysterious figure to lure Alita into a trap. He organized a major Motorball tournament, with a trip to the Sky City as the prize. Upon hearing the news, Alita immediately signed up, as she had been abandoned by the Sky City. In her quest to recover her lost memories, she had no choice but to head to the Sky City. But Vector was not about to let her succeed easily. He spent a fortune to bring together a group of modified humans, including hunters and criminals, all tasked with killing Alita on the track. On the eve of the race, Dr. Dyson Ito, recognizing several participants as wanted criminals, suspected that they might endanger Alita. He immediately informed her, and with this knowledge, Alita knew how to handle the situation. As the iron ball was thrown, everyone scrambled to reach the destination, but the agile Alita took the lead, seizing the ball and turning around to strike preemptively. Since acquiring her perfect body, her strength had also increased, allowing her to leap meters into the air with ease. As her pursuers rapidly closed in, one of them fired a cannon from his hand, nearly hitting Alita. Then she was sent flying by a punch from another pursuer, but this time, it gave her a chance to counterattack. After a powerful counterattack by Alita, she received a distress call from Hugo, who was being hunted by the bounty hunter Zapan. It turned out that Hugo had always concealed his identity, in order to gather enough money to go to the Sky City. He and his companions had repeatedly robbed parts from modified humans. However, since meeting Alita, he had wanted to give up this dead-end path, but Vector had sent the hunter Zapan to frame Hugo for murder, turning him into a wanted criminal. In this critical moment, Alita decisively left the race and rushed towards Hugo's location, but her pursuers followed closely behind and bound her with iron chains. Under such circumstances, how would she fight back? After taking down several pursuers, Alita reached Hugo, only to find that Zapan, who was already defeated by her, couldn't win and thus invoked the Hunter's Code. According to the code, when pursuing a bounty, no one is allowed to interfere, and using this rule, Zapan sneakily stabbed Hugo, putting his life in immediate danger. To save her only friend, Alita was ready to face off against the entire factory. She not only slashed Zapan's face but also took his Damascus steel blade. Later, with the help of Dr. Dyson Ito, Hugo was also fitted with a mechanical body. Upon learning that Hugo wanted to gather 1 million credits to go to Sky City, Dr. Dyson Ito had to reveal the harsh truth. Those born in Iron City will only have the chance to travel to Sky City if they win the motorized ball competition. Hugo, misled by Vector, had been robbing for Vector in hopes of raising money, but it was all in vain. To avenge Hugo, Alita stormed the factory alone, in a flash. Alita burst into Vector's office. Just as she was about to take her revenge on him, Grishka unexpectedly struck her from the side. Looking at her pierced wound, she unexpectedly began to self-repair, something Grishka had not anticipated. With Grishka down, and Vector left without support, he too was swiftly ended by Alita's blade. However, as soon as this was over, the awakened Hugo was climbing the pipeline to Sky City. After striving for so many years, he realized it was all a man-made scam. It was only after Alita came to dissuade him that he managed to alleviate the frustration in his heart. Just as they were about to leave, the mysterious person controlling everything from behind activated the pipeline's defense system, and Hugo ultimately fell from a great height. Thus began Alita's battle with the mysterious figure. The movie is adapted from the manga Gum, with CGI seamlessly integrated with live action, making the special effects look incredibly realistic. To achieve a higher standard of action scenes, the lead actress trained in various martial arts, resulting in thrilling hunting sequences. For such a post-apocalyptic manga-based film, do you think it looks good? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments. I am a movie enthusiast. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.